How many downloads of Jim and Bill It's Another Day podcast?
Today, the podcast show has fetched 400 million downloads since its start, and an average of 350,000 downloads per episode, about 3.9 million downloads per week.
Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. By the way, today's program brought to you by Right Side Coffee, theRightSideShop.com, yes?
I got my bag of Right Side coffee. I'll show it to you tomorrow. It's a delicious blend of fine roasted beans, medium roasted beans, a delicious coffee. You can get it only in one place, Bill, and you know that place.
Yes, RightSideShop.com, which, if you're too lazy to go type in RightSideShop.com, but you go to, you've got saved it'sanotherday.com, well, it's linked at the top of the page.
Really? So what you're saying is if you're too lazy to memorize two links, all you need to memorize is one.
That's right.
Well, that's my kind of thinking.
Well, you know, they sat there and they said, Bill, what would you do? And I said, well, is there an easy way? And they said, yeah, put a link at the top. I said, that's what I'd do.
So go to it'sanotherday.com and hit the link on top of the page, and you're right there. But if you're daring and you want to be adventurous and do it another way, go to rightsideshop.com. A completely separate link. It's our storefront link. You'll see hats and cups and T-shirts and, of course, Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee. It's really it's in a nice, very professional bag. It's a delicious coffee. You'll like it. I would recommend it, and I hope that you try it for yourself. I know it's a little late for Christmas, but Bill said it's a perfect Valentine's Day gift. We don't miss a holiday here. We just jump right in.
I mean, look, you got, I think Martin Luther King Day is coming up, too,
Yes.
you know. And
did we miss Kwanzaa? Yeah, we did miss Kwanzaa. Oh, yeah.
Well, Kamala didn't, though. You know, she said that she celebrates it all the time.
Yes, she does.
I'm sure
Hey, wait
she
a second.
does.
Are Juan Jose and the Border Crossers still here, or have they been sent back?
I think they're working on a presidential exemption.
They're still here. Guys, if you want to come over and sing the jingle.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Marvelous. Thank you, guys. I feel good.
There we go.
It's always nice to hear them. Always nice to have them.
So there's all kinds of stuff, I guess. It's kind of a weird mismatch of news over the holidays. Now, there was an airline, supposedly there was a jet that went down that supposedly
Might have been shot down by the Russians?
which they say. I saw the footage on that, and I was going like, you know, it looked like they were trying to maintain, but that baby went down bad.
Do you know, Bill, that I think like 27 people lived in that crash?
Really?
Honest to goodness, yeah. I mean, a lot of people unfortunately passed away, but they had survivors.
Yeah. Now, you know, it's interesting that Putin says that God's on his side.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm very thankful that he's restraining. A lot of Russians would like to go full steam ahead into World War III. I think of Medvedev, the president. You know, he is. I guess they have two positions over there. I guess Putin's the president of Russia and Medvedev is the prime minister. Anyway, he's the second in command, Medvedev, and if he were in the position that Putin's in right now, we'd have a serious problem because he's talked about, you know, going full steam ahead and damn the torpedoes, meaning he would go head on with NATO. We would be in a difficult situation. But I think Putin is giving Trump a chance to get into office. You know.
Yeah, but you know, we're not out of the woods with Biden, the Democrats, and whatnot, and the powers that be. You know, Biden's given away a lot of our technology that we had that was exclusive to us. He's given it away.
Well, the good news, Bill, is he's in the Virgin Islands
St.
right
Croix?
now. Yeah, he's in the
St. Croix.
So hopefully he'll get down there and they'll take the phone away from him. He won't do much. He'll just he'll sun himself on the beach, and he'll think he's in Delaware.
Well, you know what though? Well, you know, he's not the guy in charge. And apparently the man in charge is, what's his name? Jill Biden. As a matter of fact, she got the Man of the Year award from, who was it? There was some stupid paper that gave it to her, but yeah, she got the Man of the Year award.
Well, I mean, it's the 21st century. I mean, we had guys, in women's Olympics, and we had, guys playing on girls' volleyball team. So why shouldn't she be the Man of the Year?
Well,
I mean,
as well.
Hey, she wears the pants in that family anyway, doesn't she?
Yeah, but I mean, you never know what's going on in that administration. They've never been in charge, so
Bill. I thank God that his time in the presidency is very limited right now, but there's still a lot of room for damage. He can do a lot between now and the 20th of January.
Yeah, I mean,
he released all those murderers. All those death row inmates. I think three of them out of like 40, three of them were, they kept the sentence. Zanaev, the guy who did the bombing in Boston, and a couple of other guys that I can't think of their names off the top of my head. But, the rest of them were pretty bad guys, too. I mean, murderers, vile people, and
does that not open the door for anybody that's sitting in prison now to say, wait a minute, why did they get out and I didn't?
Well, I don't know whether there's a bargaining chip there, because I think it's truly at the whim of the president, a presidential pardon. It doesn't set a precedent, I mean, he can do it for whomever and whenever he wants to. That's why I do think he's going to give himself a pardon, his brother a pardon, his family pardons. He's going to pardon everybody, the mailman who came to his house. He's going to pardon them all. You think you've seen pardons? Hold my beer, Joe Biden once said. He's going to give out more pardons than you can imagine.
Well, let me ask you a question. Have they not already established that he is not mentally competent?
Everybody's talking about it, Bill. Everybody's talking about it.
If he's not mentally competent, that means that those pardons don't mean, the bucket that they were carried in on.
I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, if the guy's incompetent, yeah.
And if he's incompetent, Hunter's pardon doesn't mean squat.
Right.
Those other pardons don't mean squat. And when he pardons himself, well, he doesn't have the mental capacity to do it.
Well, they're admitting that he was diminished when he became president. So does it mean that everything he did over the last 4 years should be questioned?
Well, I think so, and the pardons are definitely when it comes time to say, okay, we're going to open the gates no, I'm sorry, you're still on death row because guess what? The guy was an idiot, literally.
Well,
sorry.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see whether there's any kind of challenge when Trump gets into office to all of the stuff that Biden was doing. But, time will tell. You see, we're in Mexico. They're building these shelters for the migrants who are going to be sent back. Not that Trump has any power yet. He's not president yet. But they're already building, they're going to hold 12,000 migrants being deported.
Well, they're coming home. So, and not all of them belong in Mexico, but yeah, they're going back. But, I was thinking about it over the holidays. There are so many migrants, illegals, however you want to classify them here. And you look at the ones that are of criminal nature, and there's so many here.
Well,
there's so many cells that, I was thinking, even though we've got a guy in charge that's really going after it, and I mean, that Trump's appointed a guy, I don't know if you can get them all.
Yeah, I know. I thought the same thing. I don't know how you're going to, but I read an article over the weekend where they said that the sheriffs are going to be a big part of the whole process. The local
Still
sheriff.
don't think you can get them all.
Well, I don't know whether, I think maybe realistically he won't be able to get them all, but they'll put a dent in it. I don't know whether it's possible. They say there are many, 20 million illegals, at least in our country, maybe 30 million people in this country. I don't know how you get them all either.
That's almost a tenth of the population.
How do you physically send them back? I mean, there aren't enough airplanes to take them back. Are you going to put them on trains?
And now Joe, just as spit in the face, he sat there and he's got an open, he's got the gates wide open where he can in California and certain places to sit there and say, "Come on in, you're welcome," because he's trying to do everything he can to screw Trump and the administration coming in. And he's not just screwing Trump over; he's screwing over the will of the American people. Mm-hmm. And the Democrats are sitting there, the party's trying to figure out how they're going to rebuild. The only way that you can rebuild is right now just say, get that idiot out of the White House.
Yeah, well, I just wonder, I was reading a story, we kind of brushed into this a little while ago, but there's talk that the Democrats are going to try, this is supposedly from Chuck Schumer's playbook.
Lawfare.
He says, I don't know exactly what Trump will do, but I can tell you this. The judiciary will be one of our strongest, if not the strongest, barrier against what he does. So he's going to plan on suing Trump, the administration, over and over again. But here's what I think is going to happen. Maybe I'm wrong. I think that Trump, in his basket of stuff, already knows that he has things on guys like Schumer. I'm talking about where Schumer was doing treasonous things, where he might have been doing illegal things. And these people think they're untouchable. I think you're going to see that. What I would do is right off the bat, you take out your biggest obstacles. Schumer may be a big obstacle. You take him out. You tie him up in court. You bring charges against him. You indict him for corruption, for treason, or whatever. I mean, you just tie him up. And
well, have we become too litigious of a society? Have attorneys become too
yes, we have.
big for their britches? And maybe we need to sit there and look. I'm sorry to say this, but we need to rethink. And you can't sue over everything. Look at Kathy Hochul in New York.
But wait a second, just on your point, what you just said about have we become too litigious? I agree with you 100%. But here's the thing: it's the fight fire with fire. If they're going to shoot you with a big cannon, you've got to have a big cannon to shoot them back with. You know what I'm saying? You can't say, well, it's not the gentlemanly thing to do, or we should use pistols at 10 feet or 20 feet. No. If they're using cannons, you've got to fight fire with fire. And if
or
they're
a
going
bigger cannon.
So if they're going to use a litigation to mess you up, then you have to turn around, now that you're president, and hit them with the friggin' hammer. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right. And, if I were President Trump, the day one that I got in, I would sit there and say, I would actually have a committee put together to say, I want 12 judges a week to appoint. I want to join 12 judges a week, if not 12 a day. You guys want to play lawfare? All right, let's pony up, pal. We're going to sit there and take over the court system. And then when we take it over, then we're going to sit there and neuter it. But in the meantime, we're going to keep you at bay.
When Chuck Schumer was screaming on the steps of the Supreme Court 5 or 6 years ago about, you'll rue the day, Kavanaugh, Gorsuch. I mean, he was threatening them on the steps of the Supreme Court. He's
an evil man.
Well, what they should have done, in all honesty, they should have arrested him. Well, this is the difference, I think, between Trump now and Trump when in his first term. I think this time around, after having had them, they've shown their colors. They have tried desperately to put Trump in prison over the last 4 years. Trump is not stupid, and he will. I think you're going to see now the shoe is going to be on the other foot. What do you think? Don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you think that he?
Well, I think so. And there is no statute of limitations. There is no statute of limitations. They've done away with that. And even if there was, it's well within. If I were Trump going in,
Yeah.
I would go back to when he goes, "You'll rue the day."
Yeah.
And I would go ahead and arrest him right there on the spot, day one. And
Maybe
say,
that's
you know what?
maybe that's it, Bill. Maybe that's what he's going to do. Maybe he's going to say, "Okay, you broke the law 5 years ago. You're under arrest."
Yeah, you're under arrest. And you know what? Get up there, Schumer. Don't look away. Look us in the eye for one time in your life.
Yeah.
Look us in the eye and tell us why we should save your stupid butt.
I just think that the bad guys on the left who caused so much problems and so much trouble in his first administration, they think they're going to do the same thing again. And I think that this time around, Trump knows the playbook. He has got a plan in place. That's why when you see him being interviewed, he's more confident when he does an interview right now. He's not trying to please everybody. Bill, I'm going to play for you a cut. This is Trump when he was talking to Kristen Welker, and she was talking about a lot of things, and he talked about the fraudulent January 6th committee, and she tried to downplay that committee, which everybody knows it was corrupt. That whole committee was corrupt, and listen to what and you know we had Liz Cheney. What she was worse than the Democrats on the committee because she was a Republican, and she had more venom in her than you can imagine. But listen to what Trump said to Kristen Welker.
Just remember, unselect committee, a year and a half of sworn testimony, and after getting all of the testimony, they deleted it. And they destroyed almost everything. There's nothing left. It's unprecedented.
And they deny
If you
doing
do that in a civil case, you go to jail.
You know they deny doing that. And officials say that the order never came in for
They
the National
put out
Guard.
a statement.
On January 6th, let me ask you this about January 6th. I think
Benny
you're going to want to
Thompson
answer
wrote
this.
in a statement that he has destroyed all evidence.
Let me ask you this about
It's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased, you hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you, they deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows it. And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm just saying they deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal. They have a committee sworn to, and because it was so bad, the only reason they did it is because the testimony turned out to be in favor of me. Like Secret Service testified and disputed everything. It made them into a bunch of liars. Not Secret Service, it made the people. They got rid of it because it made Nancy Pelosi, the mayor of D.C., so many people look like criminals. And I will tell you, it's illegal for them to delete and to destroy that evidence.
Let me ask.
The press was obviously unfair to me. No president has ever gotten treated by the press like I was. And yet I got more votes than any Republican candidate in history. By far. It's not even close. So you say, what's that all about? The press has to straighten itself out because, honestly, it's lost all credibility. When that can happen, based on the press, I should have gotten no votes. None. And yet I got the highest number ever. And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden. Actually.
When I say you, I'm talking metaphorically. I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden, and he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things. And somehow they don't want to see that.
That's President Trump with Kristen Welker. And, he didn't give her wiggle room. You know, he didn't. And if you see him in interviews nowadays, there was a lightheartedness that he used to have in interviews in the first term, and now he is a bit more, I guess, getting shot at. I guess getting part of your ear taken off. I guess missing getting your head blown off by literally a fraction of an inch might have a more lasting effect, you know, than...
Yeah, I think when you when certain things happen to somebody in life, you have a different perspective. And when you have that different perspective, you look at things differently. You go after things differently. I don't think he was mean to her. He held her accountable, and she didn't like it, but he wasn't mean to her.
You know, don't you think also, Bill, that I think in the first term he thought he had to work everything with the goal of staying a second term consecutively?
No, he doesn't. He's got nothing to earn and nothing to prove now.
Right.
Well, he's got nothing to earn and nothing to prove, but yet he does. I mean, unlike Joe has a legacy, and it's not a good one. And Trump is, so far, even lefties will say, well, so far he's doing everything he said he's going to do and then some. But there are evildoers, Schumer as an example, that don't care about what he's going to do that's for the good of the country, because it's not for the good of Schumer and who Schumer answers to or prays to or whatever he does, whatever to. This guy is an evil demon troll.
He is. And I've always said that, Bill. I don't think this guy is thinking about the well-being of the country. He's working hand in glove with the deep state and the sinister people behind that. I think you're going to see people going to Guantanamo. I really believe that this time around. There'll be a bunch of people who it'll be proven that they are traitors. And they will be carted off. They'll be taken away to one of them is Liz Cheney. I think Liz Cheney, without a shadow of a doubt, is corrupt. As a matter of fact, Bill O'Reilly was talking about Liz Cheney. He said it's not retribution. It's not getting even. It's getting justice. Here's what he said. Listen, Bill.
Liz Cheney. How many of you like Liz Cheney out there? Anyone? Hello? Anyone like Liz? So Liz Cheney led the January 6th committee to try to hate Trump, blame Trump for insurrection, all of that. Liz Cheney's a Republican, congresswoman from Wyoming. She lost the election. She's out. She teaches at the University of Virginia now. Okay. So Liz Cheney is the most vehement Trump hater on the J6 committee. Well, the Oversight Committee in the House now says that Liz Cheney may have tampered with a witness, Cassidy Hutchinson, who had to testify under oath in front of the J6 committee. This is the allegation. Now, we afford due process to everyone. All right, we'll have to see. But I went on News Nation with Cuomo last night, and here's what happened. Liz Cheney is the biggest villain in Republican circles there could possibly be.
Why? Because she's a traitor?
The House of Representatives said, no, because she was so hateful to Trump. And the voters of Wyoming booted her out, even though the Cheney family is one of the most powerful families in that state. But when the Republicans in Congress say she witness tampered, and then the press makes it out like this is some kind of revenge play, if Liz Cheney witness tampered, she deserves the FBI being all over her front lawn. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
And I think there's enough evidence to go in and investigate.
What they're calling witness tampering, I mean, I've only looked at what they're saying so far. Obviously, they haven't produced anything else. Not that that's some new standard. It's certainly not a legal standard of witness tampering. And there is no small irony.
Yes, it is.
You're going to go
violates
after
a federal law.
Well, depends on what she did. And I don't know.
Look it up.
So far.
No. Cuomo, you're wrong.
I know what the law is.
And you're a lawyer.
I know I am. And I was a damn good one. What I'm saying is, we'll see.
If she did it.
We'll see.
If she tried to convince Cassidy Hutchinson, yes. Oh, you give her due process, certainly. But if she had tried to convince Cassidy Hutchinson, all right, behind closed doors, which is the allegation, to testify a certain way in front of the J6 committee, then this woman violated federal law, period.
That's
and
true.
the FBI
But that's
should
a big
be
if
looking
that they don't have
into
proof of.
that.
That's fine.
Well,
But
they got to look
that's
into
not
it.
what I.
They got to investigate. You know, and the press is going, oh, it's revenge, revenge, revenge. It's not revenge. It's justice. Can't have a congressperson, you know, the legal word is suborning perjury. I don't know whether she did that, Cheney, but the allegation, and I think they can back it up, is that she met with Hutchinson and guided her testimony. That's against federal law. You can't do that if you are a sitting congressperson. So, yeah, investigate it. But it's not revenge. You got to have this. You got to have some standards of behavior in the federal government. But the press, oh, the revenge. Oh, yeah. Does the press want to know what Liz Cheney really did? Do they? No, they don't.
That's Bill O'Reilly from his BillO'Reilly.com podcast. And
Right.
I happen to think that he's right. It's justice. I mean, she did, apparently, I mean, this is what the evidence seems to point to, she did coach Cassidy Hutchinson.
She carved out a narrative, is what she did. She took people.
I like that, Bill. It sounds almost legitimate. Carved out a narrative. Was, you know, massaged the testimony.
Yeah, no, that's what she did. She sat there and she went in and she whittled through, she carved it, and she sat there and said, well, here it is. But it's not a true story. It's not a true rendition of the portrait that she painted, you know, with her testimony that she did, because she maligned the facts. She maligned the truth. And that truth is only in the cobwebs of her head, you know, that she came up with.
Well, you know, what amazes me is that she actually appears surprised that she got caught. If you hear interviews, or as a matter of fact, she's defiant in the face of this evidence. And right now, the only reason why she's not going to jail now, I mean, it's because Trump's not in office yet, and he hasn't got his attorney general in. But I would count the days there, Liz. Count the days.
The thing you got to understand about a liar wasn't born a liar, but somewhere along the line, they found it convenient to tell a lie, and they got away with it. And that one lie led to another lie, and another lie, and another lie. And at some point in time, it becomes second nature to them, to where they don't know truth from fiction. And she's built a web of lies, and in her mind, she's telling the truth. She doesn't know what the truth is, because she's lost her soul and her humanity.
Well, it's like Joe Biden. My opinion, he's been lying for 40 years, 40 years in politics. He's gotten so used to lying that he doesn't know when he's lying.
But here's the problem. The Democrat Party and the voters, you know, they knew that he was a liar all the way back to when he admitted he was a liar on national TV.
Yeah.
I'm a liar. You know, I lied about this. I lied about that. I'm a liar, and I'll always be a liar. So he didn't lie about that. But the voters lied to themselves to go, yeah, this idiot's really not a liar. Then, you know, so telling lies and getting sucked up to them, it's contagious. And that is the problem with the Democrat Party. Not the only problem, but one of the problems is they have built a web of lies, and they live in a circle of lies, and that's what they sell. That's all they had to sell this election term. And enough people, conservatives, and even mainstream Democrats sat there and said, well, wait a minute.
You know,
no, this doesn't make sense.
But the Democratic leadership and the mainstream media, if you listen to them today, instead of admitting they screwed it up this past,
they never do that.
They talk about all of the things they should have doubled down on something. We should have been a little stronger in saying this. They are completely oblivious to the fact that they turned off a large swath of their audience, of their traditional voters.
Here's how they look at it.
There are a lot of Latinos and minorities that voted for Trump this time around. That didn't vote for him the first time around. That's because
they feel like they didn't put enough gas on the fire. We didn't put enough gas on the fire. It's like Kamala. $1.5 billion.
I was going to say that. How much gas do you want?
Yeah, that was plenty of gas. That was enough gas for a couple of campaigns, it's a couple of presidential runs, but you spent it all, and in record time. You got it in record time. You spent it in twice the time, or twice as fast as you got it, and then you went $20 million in debt.
By the way, I would like to discourage any of our listeners who are going to go out and buy Mega Million jackpot. You mentioned $1.2 billion, but that's basically what the jackpot is right now for Mega Millions. But you don't need to go out and purchase any more tickets because I have the winning ticket.
Wait a minute. No.
Yeah.
Mine's sitting. Where'd it go? Damn it. Somebody took my ticket.
Yeah, I got it right here. No. No. I heard somebody saying it's true. The odds of you getting hit by lightning and struck by a bus at the same time are actually greater than winning the Mega Millions. But you know what they say, you
can get struck by lightning or hit by a bus and or both.
One of the most effective mottos I've ever heard is ringing in the back of my head. You can't win if you don't play. You can't win. I've heard that for years about the lottery, and I don't buy the lottery tickets all the time, but when I see the jackpot this big, and every time I think about it, I see a big bag of cash with my name on it, right? And the name gets bigger and bigger. Jim,
I will ask you this. Let's just sit there and say you bought 5 or 10 tickets, all right? Mm-hmm. in a lottery. And then you look at the numbers, and there are no repeat numbers on any line. So you've got a good coverage of numbers in those 10 tickets, all right?
Yeah.
What are the odds that out of those 10 tickets, you don't hit one damn
You're talking about me, right? If it's
about me,
if it's me, it's really good.
No, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about me, and I'm sitting there going, I'm starting to wonder. Sometimes the odds defy themselves. Is that I should have hit 1 or 2 numbers.
And what do you
in the
tell
thing.
me? They're going to go up to $5 a ticket in April?
Yeah, they're changing it now. I guess where is it? Idaho or wherever that the Mega Millions hails from.
Yeah,
they're going up to $5 a ticket, and they say that they're going to increase the odds and the payouts. Well, the only way that you really, no matter what they say and they change everything, odds are still odds.
I think the new ticket's going to have the word SUCKER on it.
Oh, yeah.
Sucker.
Yeah. Well, that's your second chance pull.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, the sucker pull. Yeah. They give out lollipops, just every time you buy a ticket.
I keep thinking, I justify it to myself in the state of Pennsylvania. They say the proceeds go to senior citizens. And me being a senior citizen now, I think, well, some of it's kind of come back to me.
Wait a minute now. You know what? How many wealthy seniors do you see thanks to the government or lotteries?
No, I think what happens, I think what they're talking about is they get like bus rides to the grocery store and stuff like that.
I don't even think they're getting that because in the bus
they get a bicycle.
I think portion of the proceeds go to senior citizens. 2 cents.
That's true. Well, hey, listen, it's better than nothing, right? Not much.
Not much. No, you want to investigate something?
But Bill,
investigate
honestly,
the lotteries.
Seriously. You know what's really stupid? Think about this for a second. Someone will hit the lottery eventually, right? And it'll go back to like $20 million. And you'll look at that $20 million and think, I'm not going to buy that. It's only $20 million. It's like, because you've been thinking $1.2 billion, that's a lot. When it goes back to $20 million, it's like, I'm not going to throw my money away for $20 million. Are you kidding me? So,
yeah, I mean, come on, I can do something with this dollar.
Exactly. Exactly.
But you know what? It's funny while we're on the lottery. If we're going to do a lottery, maybe we do a national lottery.
National
That's strictly.
Well, isn't like Mega Millions and Powerball the national lottery? Really? I mean,
It's not a government lottery, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. All right. You're saying a government sponsored, which means that they'll tax it before you even see it. They'll tax it before you even see the jackpot figure. They'll tax it coming and going.
Well, they tax
They'll
it. They
say-
tax the
they'll
regular.
say,
But what I'm saying is,
it'll be $1 billion jackpot. It'll get taxed in the beginning and the end, and you walk away with about $15.
well, what I'm saying is, do a national lottery that has one purpose and one purpose only, and can't be changed, and that is to pay off and secure the debt. I mean, really, there is enough money floating around in the economy, so to speak, that we could sit there and buy a $1 or $2 ticket, and maybe even limit the amount you can do.
They would be someone in Washington would say, "Hey, listen, how much is our debt? It's $30 trillion. That'll be the jackpot. Whoever wins will get our debt."
Yeah,
and you know what? That would be the one I win.
yeah. Well,
I have
we're going
good
to give you
news.
the debt. We've unloaded it on you.
Exactly. I've got good news and I've got bad news, Jim. The good news is you hit the jackpot. The bad news
The sad thing is, now back to your tax thing,
Yeah.
you would get the debt and get taxed on top of that for winning it.
exactly.
Double jeopardy. There you go.
Jeez. Anyway, good luck if you're in the
American way.
Mega Millions jackpot. When's the drawing? Tonight? I think it
Yeah,
is.
tonight.
Yeah.
So, hey, good luck to you. If you got a Mega Millions ticket, no, seriously, I hope you
Yeah.
win and you remember Jim and Bill, because
Please,
we'll say a little prayer for you right now. Dear Lord, let them win their Mega Millions.
Hey, wouldn't that be
jackpot and
nice
share
if-
it with us?
if one of our listeners hits the jackpot, if one of our, 4 million people a week, which is a lot for us. I mean, there are other guys out there who have, they brag about bigger audiences, but 4 million for us is a lot a week, But if one of you guys hit the lottery, it's Jim and Bill, Jim Harrington and Bill Knight, and how do they reach us, Bill? I mean, I'm not trying to mooch.
Mail it. It's anotherday.com. That would be, I could give my personal email if you win that. I'll
I'll drive
give
by
you
your
my own
house
phone
and pick
number.
you up,
Yeah, I'll give you the address. You can come get me. And I get now that here's a stupid question. Do people all of a sudden forget their faith if they win the Mega Millions? How much are you supposed to tithe?
Oh, a lot of people who are. I mean, I think it was 10% for tithing.
10%.
Yeah. So if
Is
you
that before or after taxes?
I don't know whether tithing is you give it to the church. Do you think that if a guy hits the lottery and he gives 10% of his winnings to like St. Jude's Hospital and all the cancer research and things like, that's not considered the same? I mean, I guess tithing is directly to the church, so I guess it wouldn't be. I guess you got to do both if you're really a good person. I don't know.
Yeah,
You do get tighter, I think, when you win the lottery. Before you win the lottery, right? Before you
There was
win, you think to yourself, I'm going to give him $1 million. I'll give him $1 million. I'll give this person $1 million. Then you win, and it's like, I don't know. Let me think about
the name
everything.
of the movie. I forget the name of the movie. It's that Burt Reynolds was in it, and I guess he had leukemia or something.
Yeah.
So he decides that he's going to just go out. And
I remember that he's in the
going
water,
out-
right? He's
going
going to go
out
drown
to see-
himself.
Going to go drown himself. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden he finds out that he doesn't have this disease.
Yeah.
But when he was drowning himself,
I'll do this, and I'll do that.
this, I'll do that. I promise you this, and I promise you that. And he gets way out there and finds out, you're going to
Yeah.
be okay.
Oh, I take it
All right,
back.
Lord. No, as he's, wanting to get back, I
Yeah.
promise this. And as he's getting closer and he's
Yes.
realizing he's going to be okay. Look, Lord, we need to talk about this.
Yes. He's negotiating with God. Oh my!
good luck
goodness.
with that one,
Anyway, again, seriously, if you win the lottery, good luck to you, and continue to listen. No matter how rich you are, we don't have we are a show for everybody of every economic strata. So if you're a billionaire and you listen to this program, God bless you. I'd like to talk to you sometime about some ideas we have. Have you ever invested in film?
Or a podcast.
Yes.
You never know.
Hey, listen, on a serious note, and I mean serious note, it's been 3 years that the war in the Ukraine has been going on, right? That short war that was supposed to be over in 6 months. But it's been 3 years. I think I read where the North Koreans are losing, heavy losses. I think I read like 10 to 12,000 troops have been sent to Russia to help in the war. They've lost thousands. And also, during that 3-year period, the Russians have thwarted many attempted assassinations on Russian leaders. They don't talk about it like we do over here. But apparently there have been a lot of attempted assassinations. They haven't said Putin specifically, but they say top-level Russian leaders.
Well, he would be one of them.
Yeah, I would think. He's the toppest of the top. So, yeah.
I'm sure that his, he's got to sit there. Could you taste this for me? They just brought.
Well,
this
it's
soup
funny you
out,
should say that. I was watching a program last night, and it was about political assassinations and what, like the Secret Service is tasked, how they're tasked to protect. And they were talking about the Beast, which is the presidential limousine. It's got 6 inches of glass. I didn't realize this, of ballistic glass that separates the street from the president, and it'll stop like an RPG. Amazing technology. But after all this 50, it's an hour-long program, 58-minute-long program, at about the 55-minute mark, after they show you the different vests they wear and the different protections they have, how they protect the Air Force One, which is amazing. You think it's just a 747? No. This thing, if a bomb goes off near a plane, a lot of planes are brought down by an explosion that doesn't hit the plane, but one that goes off like near the plane, and the concussion will blow out the airplane. Well, they've got a device supposedly on the airplane, on the 747 Air Force One, that when it senses that an explosion is imminent, it creates a ripple effect in reverse, a concussive effect that neutralizes the concussion from the explosion, if you know what I mean. So that when they literally will run into each other and negate the concussion and save the airplane from destruction. Amazing. But, Bill, the reason why I mention is you just said, would you taste this? After 55 minutes of talking about all this high-tech stuff that they have to protect the president, they said the one thing that they still are having their problems with is poison. Poison is that young man he was a Russian dissident who escaped to London about 4 years ago, and they poisoned him. They sent an assassin, the Russians did, to London. He took a cup of tea, and it had plutonium in it or something. It was some polonium. Yes, that's it, Bill. And he died. And there was absolutely nothing they could do to save him, because once it gets inside of you,
it is so deadly that the person carrying it, and they can have the amount that's just a not even a drop that's on a pinhead.
Right.
That small amount just to cover the tip of the pinhead. If you just touch it on your skin, you will be dead within days.
They did an experiment, though. Listen, they took the teacup, and they put. This guy took I guess it was supposed to be the polonium. I guess it was something similar to polonium. I don't think it was really polonium, but it was some kind of a residue that registered on the Geiger counter, on a small Geiger counter. He put it in the bottom of the cup. He said, "Now take the Geiger counter." I say Geiger counter. It was a much smaller device than the Geiger counter. It was more sensitive, and it was the kind of device that the Secret Service used to see whether there's any poisons in the drinks. And he literally held it over the cup, and you hear it click, 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 click. He said, "See, it registers the polonium." He said, now pour the tea in. And the guy pours the tea in. He said,
Doesn't
okay.
register.
Now put it. Do you hear anything now? He said, no. The tea itself blocks the device from registering the polonium at the bottom of the cup. He said, that's great. Then you drink it. When it's in your system, there's nothing to protect. There's no way of saving the victim once the polonium is in the body. As a matter of fact, they put him in a tent to protect the people around the hospital from getting sick. Like, when they are doing things to keep him comfortable, they have to do it through that tent with the plastic arms and stuff like that.
It's in his body, so he could touch and he would hurt. It is so potent, just that little bit, like I said, tip of a pinhead can sit there and kill dozens.
And this is what they're worried about with presidential assassinations.
Well, and that's one thing I worry about, because Schumer has made it very clear they're going to do everything they can lawfare-wise to trip things up. The Democratic Party has, there was something, I think I sent you something, the guy down in Florida that tried to kill Trump.
Yeah, Rolf.
He made 147 visits to Fort Bragg, and then he had 14 meetings.
He stayed overnight, 29 nights. 29 nights.
So what does that mean? And, my question is, was the government, somebody in the government, responsible for all these attempts? Just on the surface, the way it went down, it would appear that Butler may have been a government hit. The attempt at Mar-a-Lago could have been a government hit.
The guy in Butler,
around the world.
The kid in Butler, Matthew Crooks, Thomas Matthew Crooks, he had 3 offshore bank accounts. He's 20 years old. He had 3 offshore bank accounts. They've never said why. He had one in Germany, one in Belgium, one in New Zealand. Why? What did he have in the bank account? How much money?
Well, there was also some people speculated he wasn't the only gunman. There was another gunman.
Well, we talked about it. We have the sound. Yeah. We have the audio, and you can hear the different echoes.
Yeah. Could the guy from down in Florida been also the other one? He just they couldn't get Trump. They missed their target.
We talked about this last week, I think, but I'm going to mention it again for new listeners. Ruff was from the East Coast, but he went off to Hawaii for a while and spent some time in Hawaii. They don't know why, but they don't know how he could afford it, but he did. He went off to Hawaii. He wasn't like a rich guy. I don't even think he was employed, but he was off living in Hawaii. Well, Luigi Mangione, the guy who killed the CEO from United Healthcare, he was from the Baltimore area, and I think he was from Towson, Maryland. He went off to Hawaii for a while, and then he came back to the East Coast. And I know this is the writer in me. I like fiction and stuff but I think to myself, is there a reason these guys went to Hawaii? Is there something in Hawaii, some kind of a training that a certain element goes to? Do you know? Did Roth go to train? Was Mangione, was his reason for killing that United Healthcare CEO? Was there another purpose that we aren't aware of that we can't figure out? Do you know?
Okay. What is the major population makeup of Hawaii? The residents.
I would say
military.
I didn't realize the military was that big in Hawaii, but I would imagine, they have Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field, and right.
There are more military people there than regular, just everyday citizens.
Well,
so it doesn't surprise me that you would go to Hawaii, because if you're going to go to a military training thing, I mean, it's not all Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. I'm sure that if there's a military, stronghold there, great place for other things, counterintelligence, because it's a good position to be to go anywhere in the world from.
Well, it's funny. We're talking about Hawaii now. Those are just questions. I mean, is there?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell is going on? Are we being told any truth about these potential assassins? Is there
Nope.
is there something that connects all of these people? Like I said, we don't know why this guy killed the United Healthcare CEO on the street in New York. I mean, it seems so random and so unnecessary. I mean, but yet he did. Is there something more to this that we just aren't being told? Was there a reason for it that goes deeper, far deeper than we can imagine? The other thing I think is interesting, the world has become increasingly dangerous, and we're talking about, all these different assassinations. As of Thursday, Meta, I guess is how they pronounce it, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg is believed to have a net worth of $215 billion. $215 billion. I don't think Rhode Island has that much money in its treasury. He is reportedly jumping into the doomsday bandwagon.
He's got a giant place he's building.
Yeah, he doesn't say it's a giant thing. He says
No, it's huge.
He says it's just a little shelter. It's just a little shelter. I've heard that it is a massive shelter that he can live in for decades, self-sustaining. So
there, I think there was a series I told you about that I started watching. It had been out there before, but there have been, rumors that we had built underground, enclosed bunkers to house people, and there may come a point of a nuclear war, and part of the reason for a war just might be that they say, it's time to. Well, what would be the quickest
thin the
way
herd
to? They say a Green New Deal, but thin the herd,
yeah.
Level the ground so that we can rebuild the planet.
Sure, absolutely.
You can't do it slowly.
Well, what's his name?
Just blow it up.
What's his
Just
name?
wipe it out.
Bill Gates says perfect size for the world, 550 million. We have 330 million right now in this country alone. I mean, China's got billions, right? So what Gates says is just get rid of all that excess and get down to 550 million.
Yeah, you know what? Or just get them all in one place and just blow them off the map and then take the people you want, put them underground, and repopulate. And there's.
By the way, I think his estate isn't his estate in Hawaii around Maui. I know that Oprah has a place. Oprah has a palatial estate
have a place.
in Maui. And I wouldn't be surprised if she has a shelter out there. I mean, when you have that much money, that much resource, and the other thing, but here's the thing I don't understand. These guys are not always in Hawaii. Why would you invest so much money in a shelter in Hawaii if it goes off and odds are you're going to be on the mainland, unless he has a way to get to Hawaii that we don't know about?
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some kind of tunnel. We've actually built I guess it's like a subway tunnel from our East Coast all the way to Europe.
Well, they say there's supposedly tunnels that go from the East Coast to the West Coast.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, there's a lot of things that are out there that you don't know about that we have.
The other thing is this: does Zuckerberg have a submarine?
Well, he could. I mean, we know it's interesting.
We're having an interesting program, aren't we, folks?
Yeah, there's things that I'd love to talk about, probably shouldn't. But let's just say that, we have eyes in the sky, so we know when things fly. So
well,
let's say
you say that, but then again, Joe Biden, he supposedly called the Pentagon at least 4 times in the month of December to find out what the story was with those drones. Hey, guys, what's the story with those drones in New Jersey? Who's calling? It's President Biden. I mean.
We can track any ship that's out there at sea because we have buoys at the bottom of the ocean floor. We have buoyed up the ocean that have monitors. So we monitor it. We can see a sub movement. We can see ship movement. We can see everything.
In this program I was talking about how to protect the president, they showed and demonstrated a device that they already had. This show was produced in 2020, so it was only 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago maybe, that it was shot. They have a rifle. I say rifle. It's shaped like a rifle. You aim it at a drone, and you fire. It doesn't fire a bullet. It fires some kind of pulse projectile. And you can bring down. It interferes with the radio waves and the signals. You take control of the device and you land it. You bring down the device. They've already got this. So when you hear people say, well, I think they're afraid of doing something. They don't want to knock it out of the sky. You don't want it. It may be carrying a payload. You don't want it to go off, So they've already got ways of bringing down drones. They have it.
Yeah, I think the drones we're being conditioned for something. That's all there is. There's
by the way, they're still there, Bill. They're still in New Jersey. We're just not being.
Yeah, they're still there.
The news media, which is the most feckless, ineffective news media in the world. All right, their attention span is the attention span of a goat. Or a squirrel. You know how a squirrel sees one nut over here and it focuses on it until it sees another nut? That's exactly what the news media is like. They look at it, it's an important story until something else comes along, and then they completely forget about it. That was the biggest story of December. Well, now it's like old news. Oh, they're still up in the sky. We haven't figured out why, but we've moved on from that drone story. I mean, it's part of our lexicon. It's part of our life now.
I think drones will be back in the news. I mean, I forget the company name, but there was a company in the past few weeks that had announced they are going to start doing deliveries and that they did practice runs. Now, that could be that they'll say, well, that's what they'll say New Jersey was. That had nothing to do with these commercial drones that will be doing deliveries.
I wouldn't invest in that company because people are going to start shooting them down. Would you want a drone to fly up to your porch? I'm just saying. Let's say you're mowing the lawn, are you? And as you're mowing the lawn, all of a sudden, out of the clear blue sky comes a drone.
I think we're just being conditioned. Is there something nefarious going on? Yeah, there's a good chance of it. But think about it. If drones become a part of our everyday life for deliveries and everything else, what else are they going to do? Monitor us?
I still think it's looking for something, Bill. This is our government looking for something.
They know what they know what the drones are. They know what they're doing. So them playing stupid, because if our government does not know what it's doing, then to coin a phrase, we're all screwed.
Well, do you think that they've briefed President Trump? I think he has a handle on what's going on.
I think he knows. I don't think that they properly briefed him.
But I think he knows enough. I'll tell you what. And what he had planned on going to Bedminster.
And he said no.
And after that briefing, he said, "No, I'll be passing on Bedminster," which says to me that maybe there's something up there that's dangerous, and he wants to stay clear of that property.
I wouldn't want to be him because he's got a target on his head. And Schumer has dotted the I's and crossed the T that there is a factor that certain Democrats report to, that there is a deeper state that is doing things that aren't great. I don't know. We're going to see something unfold, whether it happens before the inauguration, after the inauguration, whether we get to the inauguration or don't get to the inauguration. Yeah. Something's going to happen, and except for a few people out there, most people believe, there's another shoe that's going to fall.
I heard
it's going to be a doozy.
Someone said that it was somebody who was, and I'm trying to think where exactly I heard it. It was on national television. Maybe it was a guest on Newsmax who said that reliable sources say that the deep state is planning a January 6th event. Around January 6th, there'll be another uprising of sorts, and it's going to put a monkey wrench into the inauguration. Yeah, I don't know whether it'll slow down. They're trying to stop it. I don't think they can do it. Unless God forbid they were to take the man out, which you got to pray to God that doesn't happen, because when you have 77 million people voting for somebody, they're enthusiastic about it, you don't want to tick off 77 million people.
I don't think the left cares what they do. I think that they're more about power and control, and if they can find a way to steal it any which way they can, they will do it. And when I say the left, I'm not saying the average person, although there are a lot of lefties out there that voted that they don't care.
Question for you. Would the left rather have a civil war? Would they be more comfortable with a civil war than an inauguration of Trump?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that they would think that they could come out in that.
So they would rather go to war with it. Have a wow. That's frightening.
And you know what? And now think about it. Now, unlike the Civil War, let's say that we did a civil war, and let's say that they had enough stuff in their arsenal to win it. Then would they go? Because there are people now that have said there have been divorces filed, relationships broken up because of political differences. There have been friendships that have gone, the other way.
Sure.
And they're doing it in social media. And even though they lost, they're going, don't want anything to do with you. It used to be we could agree to disagree. We can't agree to disagree anymore. So they would probably come back and say, after it was won, we know who you are. We know where you are. We're going to round you up. We're going to either prosecute you or lock you up.
Well, it's hard to do that with 77 million people. I'm just saying, but it's an interesting idea. I think that they would be they're. As you were saying what you were just saying, I was thinking, there is a desperation here that I have to add to the scenario. They are the alternative is if Trump does what he plans on doing, he plans on completely destroying the deep state. So in their eyes, it's
the enemy.
It's what do they say? Fourth down and long. They've got only one chance. It's the Hail Mary pass.
It's do or die time.
Yep. And maybe that's where we are right now. Maybe they realize there aren't a lot of options left.
They're fighting to their death.
Wow.
And unfortunately, when they fight to the death, that means that we fight to the death.
When you hear a guy like Schumer, I do think, yes, when you have to remember, folks, that Schumer was the guy who said about Trump, he has to understand that the intelligence people they'll beat you. How do they can beat you any which way? He had I forgot the exact phrasing, but he was saying that they'll get you no matter what. And I'm being very gentle. His was actually more frightening the way he said it. But Schumer,
he's a frightening guy, yeah.
Schumer, and he did it with a smile. I remember that because I saw him say it, and it was like he had truly insider information on this. That you don't want to mess with the deep state intel people because they'll put it to you in the end. So that's maybe where Trump is at right now. And but I have to think, Bill, that Trump knows all this now. It's a different Trump. He's aware of where he's at. I don't think he thinks it's going to be smooth sailing. I think he's planned for all of this. I could be wrong.
It's not going to be pretty, and that's just the way it is. But it's going to be interesting. We've got New Year's next week, and then we've got after that the March to January 20th. I think at some point in time, it's going to get interesting. You still got...
Boy, you and I have been doing this for 4 years. We're in our fourth year now, and it's been interesting for every single day.
Well, you've got all of that going on. There's a promise that whatever it is, Black Lives Matters, whatever, they're talking about,
raising hell.
raising hell and getting in people's faces.
Yeah.
You've got other people out there that are saying the same thing.
You know what
So
you
you
don't
got
hear
that.
about, Bill? You don't hear about, you and I have talked about this too, but we've lost over the last year and a half over 100 food processing plants in our country. And nobody talks about this. It's like, well, it's old news. But we still don't have them. So we've been damaged in a lot of ways over the last 4 years. And I don't think
They'll lay it on Trump's doorstep, so they'll say it's his fault. But we don't have a processing plant.
He's going to have to fix it. That's what they're going to say. He's going to have.
Well, it would be the perfect time, with his administration and everything, is to go ahead and take a look at the way the food is processed. We put so much crap in our food. Maybe it's time to sit there and say, let's take this as a rebirth of our industry, our food industry, and not be so content of saying, let's put preservatives in it so it'll stay on the shelf and look nice longer and taste good, even though it's been there for a year and a half, or whatever, and just get down to normal traditional consumption.
I think RFK Jr. is going to be instrumental in doing just that. It's interesting. I didn't really realize this, but a lot of the foods we eat, a lot of the foods that we take for granted, have all this crap in it here in the U.S. And the same product sold in England and other countries will have like 1 or 2 additives in it. We'll have maybe 10 or 15 additives in it. Over there, they have 1 or 2. It's the same product, and it tastes better over there.
Because what we're doing is we're preserving it so it can stay on the shelf longer.
The color. We're also controlling the color of it,
Oh, it looks nice. Look at that. But, the other thing is, too, you ever notice when you go in for, a burger and fries, and you eat that burger, and the burgers used to be yay big, and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger, and it still wasn't enough because it's got so much salt. Salt doesn't satisfy your hunger. It makes you more hungry. So we're sitting there.
It's hard for me to get into a debate about salt because I like it. I salt. Heck, some people say, Jim, you even salt your salt. I say, yeah, well, it's I like salt. I like salty tasting food, and I guess I'm a victim of this whole process of putting salt in all of our food.
If you went on a Nutrisystem, I don't know about Nutrisystem today, but I remember they used to do a thing with radio stations. I wasn't one of the candidates, but they, the people that were there, I'm going, so how's the Nutrisystem diet? And he goes, man, it sucks. He goes, because basically you're taking salt out of your diet. But then all of a sudden,
you lose weight.
Weeks later, he was losing weight. And he goes, I'm not as hungry anymore. And I don't eat salt. And I was like going, bravo.
Which said that Nutrisystems work. We're pointing that out as an example so that we're not sued by Nutrisystems.
No. I'm saying, now I don't know what they do today because, Oprah owned them for a while. Who knows what she did with them? But, to sit there and say that what she was doing worked.
Oprah owned Weight Watchers.
Oh, she owned Weight Watchers?
Yeah, she owned Weight Watchers.
Well, that's good for Nutrisystem. Because
I know that because I was doing Weight Watchers for a while. If you look at my weight, think of it as like a bouncing ball, up and down. But I'm still here, and.
But what she did with Weight Watchers was that she did something, and then but she lost all that weight, and then finally she admitted, she was taking.
She had a trainer.
Well, no, she was taking not only was there the trainer, but she also was taking a medicine that knocked off the pounds, and that's why she sold it.
You're not supposed to ask those questions. Hey, I'm looking at the clock. There's a representative, a Democratic representative from New Hampshire. Her name is Annie Custer, and she's leaving Congress. And in an interview with the Boston Globe, which is a Democrat rag, a leftist rag. I mean, it's not just a Democrat rag; it's a leftist rag. It's a very successful newspaper. It makes a lot of money, or at least it used to. But it's just one-sided. It leans so far to the left, it touches right. Anyway, Custer claims that one of the reasons why she's leaving is because Trump tried to kill me once, is what she said.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she says that she claims that because she was in the Capitol on January 6th, and she blames the insurrection on Trump, which is a joke. She says he tried to kill her. That's why she's leaving.
You heard from Joy Reid, right? You know, she's claiming that Trump answers to Elon Musk, who answers to Putin.
Gag me.
Of course, you know, Joy, she answers to, well, the voices in her head.
Unbelievable. Truly, I don't know where the brains, and I use my fingers to do air quotes, the brains at MSNBC find these people. You know, you would think that if they're gonna do it, at least, you know, find some people who seem to have a universal appeal. She is amazing. She is, and I don't say this, by the way. This has nothing to do with race. Completely zero. She is just a numbskull. I don't care whether she went to Harvard, Brown, Princeton, or all three of them. I don't care. You know, and by the way, as I've gotten older in life, I realize that many people who did go to Harvard, Brown, Princeton, Yale, and some of those other Ivy League schools are maybe the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. They live off the reputation of those universities their whole life. Well, I went to Harvard. Oh, he went to Harvard, and they have no wide. They don't think large. They think little, as I would like to say. They're not the wisest of people that I've met, and that's, as a matter of fact, some of the wisest people I've met didn't go to college. Look at Rush Limbaugh. Okay, you don't like Rush Limbaugh? Well, I like Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was he was a disc jockey when he was a young guy. He was a disc jockey in some of the cities that I worked in. And he was a talented disc jockey too, but he left college because he just wanted to be in radio. That's what he wanted to do for a living. And as you listen to him all throughout his talk show career, you realize what a brilliant mind he. By the way, even if you didn't agree with his politics, if you paid attention to how he did his radio, you would have to say, I don't think he's very. I think his politics are skewed, but he's a smart guy. He's a brilliant guy. I happen to think his politics were right on the money, personally, and I do think that he was a smart guy, you know. And he didn't have a college education, you know. Yeah, he was.
No, but they tout college education as the thing to have.
Yeah,
it's the end all, and it is not the end all. You know, it's nice to have, but it is not everything. As a matter of fact, the colleges, you know, what they offer for what they charge.
Oh, Bill, I heard some of the courses that some of these schools are offering. Sex, how to work in the sex entertainment business is a course in like one of the bigger schools like Yale.
You know, if somebody's got to teach you that in college.
Well, I guess they'll have a large class, but it won't be.
I mean, you know, that's
they were reading a list of courses that some of these bigger schools are offering. It was just last night on the news. I don't have that list in front of me. Maybe I'll find it and we'll talk about it on our next show. But it's embarrassing how dumb some of these schools are. Some of the courses are so stupid. And they're giving credit for them. You know, I
think the whole school system from kindergarten all the way up to major universities needs to be rethunk.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I've mentioned before, I'm not going to go into it now, but I have a whole different idea of how the education system should work, and that we can sit there and pretty well have everybody set up.
I look at who's smarter, a kid who goes to a school that costs $90,000 a year, so they end up at the end of 4 years they have an incredible debt, an enormous debt that they have to handle, or the kid who goes to a trade school becomes an electrician or an HVAC person or a plumber, and he walks out and he has a manageable debt. He can pay it off in no time, and he goes into a job that pays him like $70,000 a year for being an electrician or a plumber, you know. And those are the trades that, and they used to look down their nose. I remember as a kid, what do you want to be, a plumber? I mean, you want to be a plumber?
You know,
I should have been.
You look at what those guys charge an hour.
Oh, my
And what they
gosh.
make an hour, and just go on a 40-hour week. You know, these guys actually, they were the smart ones.
Yep.
They might get their hands a little bit dirty, but, you know, when you're sitting there making 50, 60, $100 an hour,
Yeah.
and you're putting in that 40-hour week,
Yeah.
do the math.
And the funny thing about it is many times you're being called over to a guy who's got a degree from an Ivy League school who can't fix his toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And they got to rely on this high school educated guy who went to a trade school to come over and rescue them, So
Yeah, and it might be the guy that they used to make fun of in school.
Yeah.
And he said, they're going, yeah, who's laughing now?
yeah, exactly.
I
Anyway,
can't go to the bathroom until I leave.
I want to remind you that we have some coffee that you can buy at our gift shop, which is online, rightsideshop.com. And it's Jim and Bill's Right Side Coffee in the blue wrapper, blue package. It's a very nice, very well laid out package. And it's also got a great coffee. It's a medium roast regular and a medium roast decaf. And it's rightsideshop.com. rightsideshop.com. As a matter of fact, Juan and Jose, they're standing right here next to the microphone. They want one more chance to sing the jingle. Guys, it's all yours.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Marvelous. Juan,
Yes.
Jose, and the Border Crossers. You say they got an extension on their... They don't have visas, do they?
No, they don't. But I think, they're working out something here.
They've
So
gotten
they'll be around
good.
for a while.
They've gotten good at evading ICE. Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they know a few of the ICE people,
I say the word ICE and they break out into a cold sweat. You know that? I can walk into the room and I can have a cup of soda in my hand and say, anyone got any ice? And all these guys hit the door.
When you say anybody's got any ice and the room clears, yeah, that should tell you something right there.
Absolutely.
Really should. Yeah, Right Side Shop, the right place to go.
Yep.
So check it out and help us out, and we'd appreciate it.
Hey, listen, I think I'm just about done here. Are we doing a show tomorrow, Bill, or we this is the holiday weekend? That's why, by the way, we didn't do one yesterday because we figured that people were still all into the the Christmas mode and weren't paying a lot of attention to politics. Are we going to do one tomorrow?
I don't know. I guess we'll play it by ear and see what happens in the news today, and we'll touch base maybe tonight.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Check back, okay, friends? That's it for me, Bill. I'm done. You all done?
Yeah, I'm all done. I think there's only one thing to do, and that's to say, hasta la vista, baby. We're out of here.
This is CRN America.